Students, in this video, I will take the special cases in graphical method. So there are basically four special cases. One is alternate optimum solution, second is unbounded solution, third is infeasible solution, and the fourth one is degenerate solution. Now, first case, alternate optimum solution. So we have taken one example. Maximum z is equal to 2x1 plus 4x2 subjected to x1 plus 2x2 is less than equals to 5. Then x1 plus x2 is less than equals to 4 and x1 x2 is greater than equal to 0. So when you draw these limitations, then we will have the shaded area. This one is the first constraint, this one is the second constraint, and this non-negativity conditions shows that we will consider only the positive axis. So ultimately the shaded part is basically the area bounded by A, B, C and D. These are the four corner points. When you draw the objective function, so just assign some value. For example, say any value, say z is equal to say 4 here. Then this will intersect. When you assign this is equal to 4, put x2 is equal to 0, so we will get 2. So x2 intersects at point 2. Then put x1 equal to 0, x2 will be 1. So when you join 1 and 2, so you will have such type of line. Now slowly draw the parallel lines and you will see that this line basically is, this objective function is parallel to this constraint number 1. You can also observe this part is exactly parallel to this part. Just multiply by 2 here, you will get this value. So ultimately basically this entire line segment from C to D is basically the solution. Rather than a corner point, we are having the entire line CD. CD represents the solution. Alternately, suppose you are not interested in this line. So we are having A, B, C, D, four corner points. So first find out their ordinates. So we are having this vertices A, B, C, D. And for A we have x1 is 0, x2 is 0. For B we have 4 and 0. For C we have 3 and 1, and for D is 0 and 5 by 2. Find out the objective function values at these points. So objective function is 2x1 plus 4x2. So at this point we have 0. For second point we have 8. For third point we have 10, and for fourth point we have 10. So the both are at same level and having maximum in this column. So that's why we are having alternate optima. Okay. So and the entire line segment CD is basically the solution. So we have infinitely many solutions rather than one solution. Okay. Now the second case, unbounded solution. We have this maximum z is equal to 6x1 plus x2 subjected to 2x1 plus x2 is greater than equal to 3, and x2 minus x1 is greater than equal to 0, and x1 x2 both are greater than equal to 0. So when you draw the first constraint, then we have this line. When you draw the second constraint, we have this line, and based on this non-negativity condition, this is the solution space. Now draw the constraint. So suppose you are assigning this as 6 here, so we are having this line. Then slowly, because this is a maximization problem, slowly draw the parallel lines, and you will see that there is no restriction. You just increase the line, and for example here we have z is equal to 6, at this line we have z is equal to 12, at this line z is 18. So when you are moving in this direction along x-axis, you can see that here the coefficient of x1 is 6. That means when you are increasing x1 by 1 unit, then you will get an increase in by 6 units in the objective function. Okay, so that's why when you are moving in x direction, you will see that the maximum z will increase. Similarly, when you increase the x2 in x2 direction by 1 unit, then you will get 1 unit extra in the objective function. Hence we can say that solution space is unbounded because there is no upper bound of this solution space, as well as solution is unbounded. So unbounded solution space and unbounded solution, both are unbounded. Solution space तो आप देख ही रहे हैं unbounded है, there is no upper bound. At the same time solution is also increasing 6, 12, 18 and so on. So there is no limitation on z, hence both are unbounded. Okay. For example, here we have a note. This you can see that this shaded area is another problem. This shaded area is, suppose you can see that this is also unbounded, and suppose we have a problem, say minimization or maximization, whatever we have. This is the objective function. When you increase this, so this corner point basically gives you the unique optimum solution. That means solution space is unbounded here, but solution is bounded because we are getting a unique solution. Okay, so unbounded region but unique optimum solution, that means bounded solution. In the second case, you can see here the solution space is unbounded, but if we take another objective function, then we are having alternate optima, but still we are having bounded solution. Okay, so this is the meaning. So here we have unbounded solution space and solution is also unbounded, but in both these cases unbounded space but solution is bounded. Here we have unique solution, here we have infinitely many solutions. Okay, now the third case. Now the third case is this infeasible solution. So we have this example, maximum z is equal to x1 plus x2 subjected to x1 plus x2 is less than equal to 1 and minus 3x1 plus x2 is greater than equal to 3 and x1 x2 both are greater than equal to 0. When you draw the first constraint, we will get this shaded part, and when you draw the second constraint, we will get this line, and this is the area. Okay, so now you can see that both these areas are different, they are not common area. This region having this part, this line has this part. That means if any solution which satisfies this region, that will not satisfied by this region, and if any solution satisfied by this region, then this will not be satisfied by this region. Hence we can say that there is no common solution which satisfies this area as well as this area, and hence we can say that infeasible solution. Now the fourth one, degenerate solution. So here the example is maximum z is equal to 3x1 plus 9x2 subjected to x1 plus 4x2 is less than equal to 8, x1 plus 2x2 is less than equals to 4 and x1 x2 is greater than equal to 0. Okay, when you draw the region first constraint, the first constraint is this line, the second constraint is this line, and both are less than type. So the common area will be this, which satisfied these two constraints as well as feasibility condition. Now you can see that when you draw the objective function, so objective function, suppose you are assigning here 9, say 9. So when you assign this equal to 9, then we will get this line, this line. Now draw the parallel lines, and you will see that as your z increases the value, at this line z is 18, this is z is equal to 9, this is z is equal to 18. When you draw this, you will see that this line intersect at this corner point, so this will be the solution. Okay, so this will provide you the solution. Now observe one thing, this point is the solution, that means x is equal to, x1 is equal to 0 and x2 is equal to 2 and z is 18. This is the optimum solution. Now observe one thing, if you remove constraint number 1, then still you are getting the same solution. That means if you remove the x1 constraint, then still you are getting the same solution. That's why the constraint number 1 is basically the redundant constraint. Such type of constraint is known as redundant constraint. When you remove the redundant constraint, there will be no change in the optimum solution. Okay, there will be no change. Such type of constraint is known as redundant constraint or parallel constraint. So you just remove it, there is no change in the solution, and the such type of solution is known as degenerate solution. Fine, so this is the degeneracy. Now, so these are the 4 cases, special cases. Now we have another very important concept, binding and non-binding constraints. A constraint is binding if the left hand side and the right hand side of the constraint are equal when the optimum values of the decision variables are substituted in the constraint. So when you substitute the optimum solution, for example herein, if suppose you are getting 100, so that will be exactly equal to 100. So 100 is equal to 100, then such type of basically constraint is known as binding constraint. Fine. Second, a constraint is non-binding if the left hand side and the right hand side of the constraint are unequal when the optimum values of the decision variables are substituted in the constraint. When you substitute the constraint optimum solution, for example herein, suppose you are getting 90, so 90 is less than 100, then the constraint is known as non-binding. If you substitute the optimum solution here and you get 100 is equal to 100, then the constraint is known as binding constraint. Fine. So this is the meaning. So here we have taken one example. Maximum z is equal to 3x1 plus 2x2 subjected to 2x1 plus x2 is less than equal to 100, x1 plus x2 is less than equal to 80, and x1 is less than equal to 40. So these are the three constraints and these are the two non-negativity conditions. When you draw the region with the help of these three and non-negativity condition, then the shaded part is the solution space here. Fine. So this is the basically the feasible space. And now assign some value here, suppose say 60 here. When you assign the 60, so we are getting this line. Slowly draw the parallel lines and you will see that at this corner point will provide you the solution where x1 is 20, x2 is 60 and maximum z is 180. So this is the solution. x1 is 20, x2 is 60 and maximum z is 180. Okay. Now when you substitute these two, x1 equal to 20, x2 is 60 in the first constraint, then you will see that here 20 into 2 is 40 plus 60 is 100. So 100 is equal to 100. That means the first constraint is binding constraint. Similarly, when you put x1, x2 in the second constraint, you will have 20 plus 60 is 80. So 80 is equal to 80. So second constraint is also binding. However, the third one x1 is 20. So 20 is less than equal to 40. So this is non-binding. So first and two both are binding constraint. However, the third one is non-binding constraint. Fine. So constraint 1 and 2 are binding while the constraint 3 is non-binding. Fine. This is the meaning. Now, what is the limitation of graphical method? So if no number of variable is more than 2, then graphical method becomes typical and so not appropriate to apply, because you are not able to visualize the graph if number of variables increases. Hence there is a need of any other general method. So for that, basically we are having simplex method, which is the backbone of the further improvements or further other variants of the methods. Simplex method is the basically the core method based on which we are having another methods, but the simplex one is the core method. Fine. Now to develop the simplex method, we need some definitions, some another concepts. So for that, let us take the general LPP. So suppose we have a general LPP, maximum, minimum, maximum or minimum, either maximum or minima. This is the objective function c1x1 plus c2x2 plus cnxn subjected to a11x1, a12x2 plus a1n xn either less than type, either equality or either greater than type. So either we have less than, equal to or greater than. Suppose b1. This is the second constraint. This is the mth constraint. Okay. Likewise, we are having less than, for example, say this is the mth constraint am1x1 plus am2x2 amn xl less than, equal to or greater than bm. So these are total m number of constraints. This is the non-negativity condition, xj is greater than equal to 0, where j is 1, 2 to n. These are the non-negativity restriction. Here we have assumed that n is greater than m. That means number of variables is greater than number of constraint. Now we can rewrite this in matrix form. So in matrix form, maximum minimum z is c1 c2 cn. This is a vector which is multiplied by this column vector x1 x2 xn. So when you multiply these two, you will get the same objective function. This can be written as C transpose X. Okay. Subjected to, now this system can be written as in this matrix form A11, A12, A1n, A21, A22, A2n, AM1, AM2, AMn multiply by this column vector x1, x2, xn, either less than type, either greater than type, or either greater than type B1, B2, Bm. And this feasibility condition can be also be written as x1 x2 xn transpose greater than equal to 0 0 0 0 transpose. Okay, so in short, this can be further rewritten as maximum or minimum z is equal to C transpose X. Subjected to, this can be written as A, this can be written as X less than equal to or greater than type, and this can be written as B, and this can be written as X is greater than equal to 0. Where what is C, what is X, what is A, what is B, they are listed here. Okay, so now canonical form is basically what? If you are taking maximum z. So maximum, for example, suppose you are taking maximum z. So z is equal to C transpose of X subjected to Ax less than equal to B and X is greater than 0. If you are having this type of form, because here we have less than equal to or greater than type, but if maximization is there, then we should have less than type. So this is called as canonical form. Similarly, if you are having minimum z, so minimum z is equal to C transpose of subjected to Ax should be greater than type B and X is greater than equal to 0. This is for canonical form for minimization. Okay. Now, if you are applying any method like big M method, two-phase method, simplex method, generally our task is that reduce or convert these inequalities into equalities, either by adding some amount in the left hand side or just subtracting some amount in the left hand side. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So that's why we have three type of variables: slack, surplus and unrestricted variables. What is slack? So to convert a less than type inequality to an equation, a non-negative slack variable is added to the left hand side of the constraint. Okay, so if for example, suppose we have this constraint, this is less than type. If you add some amount here, then we can say 2x1 plus 3x2 plus that amount is equal to 5. So that amount is basically a variable quantity because we don't know about this, the value of this. So this variable quantity is basically a variable and denoted, and this variable is known as slack variable. Okay, now the surplus variable. To convert a greater than inequality to an equation, a non-negative surplus variable is subtracting to the left hand side of the constraint. For example, this constraint, if you subtract some amount here, then this will become equality 2, and that variable whichever you will basically subtract here is known as surplus variable. Okay, now the unrestricted variable. In a LPP, if any variable is unrestricted, then that variable may be either positive type, because in most of the time you will see that we are having equality feasibility condition like that, but sometimes we are not interested in greater than equal to 0. We may have either x1 is 0 or x1 is less than equal to 0 also. Then that variable is known as unrestricted. There is no restriction. Okay, so in LPP, if any variable is unrestricted, then that variable may be either greater than type or less than type. Suppose xi variable is unrestricted, then either xi is greater than equal to 0 or xi is less than equal to 0. To deal such variable, take two non-negative variables xi plus xi minus, both are greater than equal to 0. Then xi can be written as xi plus minus xi minus. Their difference will be nothing but the xi, the actual variable. तो हमने इस वेरिएबल को दो नए वेरिएबल से रिप्लेस कर दिया, दोनों पॉजिटिव हैं, एंड देयर डिफरेंस इज बेसिकली द एक्चुअल xi. नाउ अब क्योंकि दोनों पॉजिटिव हैं, इफ दिस डिफरेंस इज पॉजिटिव, फॉर एग्जांपल दिस, देन xi विल बी पॉजिटिव. इफ दिस डिफरेंस इज नेगेटिव, then xi will be negative. And xi plus and xi minus are referred as artificial variables. They are the basically the artificial variables. Okay, so for example, here we have taken an LPP. maximum z is 66x1 minus 22x2, subjected to x1 minus x2 is greater than equal to 2, 2x1 plus 3x2 is less than equal to 5, x1 is greater than equal to 0, and x2 is unrestricted. Okay, so now this equation, so here x2 is unrestricted. Okay, so we can write this x2 as x2 plus and x2 minus. So before that, first what we will do, we will just add slack and surplus variable. So the maximum z is equals to 66 x1 minus 22 x2 subjected to, here is the greater than type, to subtract some amount here, suppose s1 amount. So x1 minus x2 minus s1 is equal to 2. Similarly in the second constraint, just add some amount here, so 2x1 plus 3x2 plus s2 is equal to 5. Then x1 is greater than 0, x2 is unrestricted, s1 is basically greater than equal to 0, which is nothing but the surplus variable, and s2 is greater than equal to 0, and s2 is a slack variable. Okay, now deal this x2 which is unrestricted. So now x2 can be replaced by, with the help of this x2 plus minus x2 minus. So here what we will do, x2 is replaced by x2 plus minus x2 minus, and both x2 plus and x2 minus both are greater than equal to 0. So when you replace this in the problem, then we will have this problem. Maximum z is 66 x1 minus 22. In place of x2 we have this x2 plus minus x2 minus. So x1 minus, this is basically the x2 plus minus x2 minus s1 is equal to 2. Similarly this second constraint, and now variables are x1 is greater than equal to 0, x2 plus is greater than 0, x2 minus is greater than 0, s1 is greater than 0, s2 is greater than 0. So this is basically the canonical form. This is the canonical form. Okay, so the LPP is basically this. This is the standard form, sorry, this is the standard form. So LPP can be written as, so after this you can see that we are having equalities here. So that's why this can be written as maximum z is equal to f of x subjected to ax is equal to b and x is greater than equal to 0. What is f? F is basically 66 x1 minus 22 x2 plus minus x2 minus. What is a? A is based on the coefficient 1 minus 1 1 minus 1 0, because x is this x1 x2 plus x2 minus s1 s2. So the coefficient of x1 here is 1, so 1. Coefficient of x2 plus is minus 1, so minus 1. Coefficient of x2 minus is 1 1. Coefficient of s1 is minus 1. Coefficient of s2 is 0 here. Similarly the second row, right hand side is 2 and 5, 2 and 5. Okay, so this is the basically the standard form. Standard form is equality. The form having equalities in all the constraint is known as the standard form. Okay. Now we have next concept is basic and non-basic variables. So consider the LPP in standard form like this form. So minimum or maximum z is equal to f of x, which is nothing but c transpose of x, subjected to ax is equal to b and x is greater than equal to 0, where a is basically this coefficient matrix, this type of, so aij m into n, where m equations in n variables with m is less than equal to n. That means number of constraint is less than number of variables. Bi is the column vector, this column vector 2 and 5 type, so bi m into n, and x is the variables xj n into 1. So now since number of constraint is less than number of variables, now to solve such type of system, basically we have to assign n minus m variables as 0, so that ultimately we will have m equations with m unknowns and we can get a solution. Okay, so now to solve this system, put n minus m variables equal to 0 and solve for remaining m variables. Okay, the n minus m, this solution is called as basic solution. जो भी आप solution obtain करेंगे after putting n minus variables as 0 is known as the basic solution and denoted by say xb. So bxb will be b. In place of a we have b, because in a we have to basically assign certain columns as 0 0 0, क्योंकि कुछ वेरिएबल 0 0 0 डाल दिए गए होंगे तो उनके कॉलम भी 0 0 हो जाएंगे. सो वी हैव ओनली द रिड्यूस्ड डायमेंशन मैट्रिक्स B. ओके, सो द n जो आपने n माइनस m वेरिएबल्स विच वी हैव सेटिंग एज 0 आर कॉल्ड एज नॉन बेसिक. जिनको आपने 0 0 0 डाला है, दोज वेरिएबल्स आर नोन एज नॉन बेसिक वेरिएबल्स, and the remaining m variables which we have evaluated are called basic variables. Okay, सो अ बेसिक सॉल्यूशन कॉरेस्पॉन्ड टू ए कॉर्नर पॉइंट ऑफ द सॉल्यूशंस। जो भी सॉल्यूशन आएगा वो एक कॉर्नर पॉइंट के अलोंग आएगा, जो भी सॉल्यूशन स्पेस का कॉर्नर होगा वहां। नाउ अमंग दिस इज द बेसिक सॉल्यूशन, ठीक। नाउ बेसिक फिजिबल सॉल्यूशन, this is basic feasible solution, this is basic solution, this is basic feasible. So any basic solution of a given LPP which satisfies feasibility और नॉन नेगेटिविटी कंडीशन इज कॉल्ड बेसिक फिजिबल सॉल्यूशन। यानी n-m को जीरो डालने के बाद आपने m वेरिएबल्स निकाल लिए, हो सकता है वो सारे के सारे पॉजिटिव आए, हो सकता है उनमें से कुछ निगेटिव आए। तो अगर वो सारे के सारे पॉजिटिव आते हैं देन द सॉल्यूशन इज बेसिक फिजिबल सॉल्यूशन। अगर उनमें से कोई भी एक निगेटिव आ जाता है देन दैट इज नॉट बेसिक फिजिबल, क्योंकि वो फिजिबिलिटी कंडीशन को सेटिस्फाई नहीं करेगा। ओके, सो देयर आर मैनी बेसिक सॉल्यूशंस बट नॉट ऑल बेसिक सॉल्यूशंस आर फिजिबल, ठीक। नाउ द ऑप्टिमम, अब ये जितने बेसिक फिजिबल आए हैं इन्हीं में से जो एक सॉल्यूशन हो सकता है या एक से ज़्यादा जो आपको अच्छा सॉल्यूशन दे, बेस्ट सॉल्यूशन दे, दोज आर नोन एज ऑप्टिमम बेसिक फिजिबल सॉल्यूशन। सो एनी बेसिक फिजिबल सॉल्यूशन which optimizes the objective function of a given general LPP is called an optimum solution. Okay, तो अब हम इसके कितने कितने बेसिक सॉल्यूशंस हो सकते हैं, हाउ टू फाइंड आउट दैट? फॉर दैट द algebraic determination of a corner points. So in a set of mn equation where m is less than equal to n, तो जो नंबर ऑफ आपके जो कॉर्नर सॉल्यूशंस आएंगे या मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ कॉर्नर पॉइंट्स जो आपके आ सकते हैं बेसिक सॉल्यूशंस, दैट आर NCM, factorial n divided by factorial m into n minus m factorial. So this will give you the maximum basically corner or basic solutions. Okay, let's see an example. Suppose we have this maximum z is 4x1 plus 3x2 subjected to x1 plus x2 is less than equal to 40, 2x1 plus x2 is less than equal to 60, x1 x2 is greater than equal to 0. Okay, so now convert this problem into standard form. So basically when you draw, so this red shaded part is the feasible region. So just add some amount here, so s1, so x1 plus x2 plus s1 is less equal to 40, 2x1 plus x2 plus s2 is equal to 60. So we have added two slack variables here, s1 and s2. So now you can see we have two equations, so m is 2, how many variables are there? 4, so n is 4. So the maximum number of solutions will be 4c2. That means factorial 4 divided by factorial 2 into factorial 2. That means when you solve this, we will get six corner points. So in this figure, you can see that those 6 corners. One is this A. This is also a corner. Obviously, this will not be the corner of this feasible region, but this is a corner. Okay. Then we have second corner point B, which is the corner point of this feasible space. Then the third is C. This is the corner point of this feasible space. Then D, this is another corner point, but this is not the corner point of the feasible space. That's why this is infeasible. This is not feasible. Okay. Then the E and F. So ultimately in this figure we have total 6 corner points denoted by A, B, C, D, E and F. So now what are those 6 one? Suppose we have this constructed a table. One is the basic variables, non-basic variables. Non-basic means 0 0, क्योंकि 4 हैं ये 2 हैं, इसका मतलब 2 वेरिएबल को हमें 0 0 डालना पड़ेगा। तो वी डोंट नो बट वी असाइन देयर वैल्यूज एज 0 0। जो भी यहाँ आएंगे उनकी वैल्यू 0 0 रहने वाली है। फाइन। देन बेसिक सॉल्यूशन, देन बेसिक फिजिबल सॉल्यूशन विच इज x1 x2 s1 s2, इस ऑर्डर में हम रखेंगे। एंड देन हम देखेंगे इसके कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग कौन सा कॉर्नर पॉइंट है। ओके, let's see the first one. Suppose we are having basic variable as x1 x2. इसका मतलब हमने s1 s2 को 0 0 डाला है। Those are known as non basic variable. तो यहाँ s1 s2 को 0 0 डाला। Solve the system of equation x1 plus x2 is equal to 40, 2x1 plus x2 is equal to 60, क्योंकि s1 s2 0 0 डाले हैं। So where we will get x1 x2 which is nothing but 20 and 20. Both are positive. That's why this is basic feasible. अगर इनमें से एक भी निगेटिव आ जाता तो ये बेसिक फिजिबल नहीं रहता, नो। ओके, बट हियर बोथ आर पॉजिटिव, सो यस। व्हाट इज द बेसिक फिजिबल सॉल्यूशन इन दिस ऑर्डर? x1 x2 s1 s2, x1 is 20, x2 is 20, s1 is 0, s2 is 0. Corner point is 20 20. Corner point is this, because this is x1, this is x2. So corner point is this corner point E. this is 20 and this is 20, so E. Now the second basic variable is x1 and s1. That's why we have put it x2 as 0, s2 as 0. So x2, s2 both are 0, 0. Evaluate. We get x1 is 30, s1 is 10. Both are positive. That's why this is basic feasible. Solution is 30, 0, 10 and 0. 30 means x1 is 30, x2 is 0, s1 is 10 and s2 is 0. According to this figure, here we have x1 is 30, x2 is 0. So x1 is 30 and x2 is 0. So C point. So this is C point. Third, x1, s2. Non-basic one is x2, s1. So solution, when you solve this, we will get x1 is 40, s2 is minus 20. So that's why you can see here among these two, one is negative. That's why this is not basic feasible, because this will not satisfy this condition. So this is no. So that's why dash. Similarly, fourth one, x2, s1, non-basic x1, s2. Solution is x2 60, s1 is minus 20. Again, s1 is minus 20. So that's why no. Fifth, x2, s2, x1, s1. x2 is 40, s2 is 20. Both are positive. That's why yes. And when you write down in this manner, we get 0, 40, 0, 20. So x1, x2 is x1 is 0, x2 is 40. So x1 is 0, x2 is 40. That means B point. So B. And last one is s1, s2, x1, x2. s1 is 40, s2 is 60. So this is again both are positive. So yes. And here x1 is 0, x2 is 0, s1 is 40, s2 is 60. So 0, 0. That means this corner point F. Okay. So this is basically the basic and non-basic variables. Okay. Now, when here you can see that when you are evaluating the basics of variable, all variable are either positive or negative. There will be no 0. But if a basic feasible solution in which all basic variables are positive is called non-degenerate. For example, like this, both are positive. Both are positive. So this is non-degenerate. So a basic feasible solution in which at least one basic variable is 0. इनमें से निकालते हुए और एक भी 0 आ जाए, यहाँ 0 आ जाता, so that is called basically the degenerate basic feasible solution. Okay, so this is the analysis. In the next video we will discuss about the simplex method. Okay, thank you.